Hello, we're live now.
We are live
Hello,
with a
guys.
song
Yeah,
by Marino.
by a song, we are each day we are
That's
improving
great.
our community call. Welcome everyone to Kleros community call of September 3rd, 2025. Can you believe we are already in September? For me, like being in September means that that you're in the last leg of the year. So, how many great things happened in the last month, and we have a very special guest today. Juan, who is our treasury manager. I'm now transitioning into building a new startup. We are going to speak a bit with him about different topics that curation, what his company is doing. Hello, Juan. How are you? Very happy to have you here.
Hey Fede, hey Jean. Yeah, pleasure, guys. Long time I haven't been in the community calls, so yeah, excited here.
We might also speak a bit about football. I cannot promise.
Yeah, I will avoid that. Now I only play tennis.
Yeah, okay. How are you, Jean? All good?
Yeah. I was looking forward to Juan's updates.
Awesome. Well, last week the big topic was the news that we had from Argentina about this change in regulation that enables Kleros to potentially or a court within Kleros to work as an ombudsman for consumer disputes. There is a regulation in Argentina that creates the figure of the consumer defender, that companies can opt into that regulation. And because of some changes that were done in the last few weeks, an update into that regulation, there's the potential that a court within Kleros can be used by companies for having decisions regarding disputes they have with customers. And those disputes, if they fall under certain conditions and the process is structured in a certain way, the decision made by Kleros can become binding, which is extremely important. And this is something that we get asked a lot, especially by enterprise customers. So if we use Kleros to solve our dispute, will this be binding? The answer typically is not necessarily, but if we manage to have the process governed by this new regulation, then it will be actually binding, and this will open, of course, the doors for like a massive adoption in first in Argentina, but then this is a regulation that can be replicated in different places. We have Facundo, who is our policy specialist. He's basically a lawyer and the guy who writes the policy for Kleros courts. Kleros, when jurors make decisions, as you know, they don't just decide whatever they feel is good. They follow rules that tell them how they should decide in different cases. It's like a judge following the law. So Facu does that, and also he does work in the interfaces between the decentralized arbitration system of Kleros and the traditional legal system. So last week we had interview with him, so he explained how this regulation works. On Monday we had the Spanish community call, and we also explained this in Spanish so everyone can understand. So this is really exciting. This is a very big step into a direction which is really cool, because it can bring more adoption for Kleros in companies in fintech, companies doing insurance, companies like airlines. Imagine, online marketplaces and all of the Web2 companies that can use some decentralized method for resolving disputes with their customers. So this is a really, really big piece of news. I recommend that you take a look at the recordings of those calls. And another little piece of news before going to Juan is that we are very much moving forward now with the development of V2, the new version of Kleros that is now in the beta version. Like this week, we had the 100 case of Kleros 2.0, which is super exciting, and that could have been resolving for now. lower value dispute because it's still not audited. The smart contracts are being finalized now, and they're going to go into audit. And after the audit is done, and we feel secure about it, we can start using it for higher value claims. That is the type of claims we are going to discuss today. Jean, anything you want to mention before going to Juan, or we're good to continue?
I think that we reached the mark of 100 cases on V2. I think this is very important. And also, and 63 of these cases came from Kleros Enterprise. So that's, I think, is pretty interesting. And also, well, just right now we started the maintenance of V2, so you will not be able to create cases for the next 3 hours, but it's for a good reason, because the team is basically changing some internal tools and updating to a version that is they have been working on for some time. And it's basically another step towards getting V2 out of beta. So that's I think it's probably people are wondering when V2 it's almost ready for the audits, and so it's coming.
Yeah.
Our job now is having you like entertained for 3 hours, so you don't go to the course.
No. We can speak for 3 hours. Like actually, like something funny is that like 30 minutes ago, I was like in this lunch, and we were talking with people like talking about like how like finance and DeFi and crypto yada how it works, and there was this team of lawyers inside that team, and they told me, oh yeah, Kleros, obviously I know it, and we started talking, and he mentioned like, last week we have this defense al consumidor, because like consumer defense law, and they were crazy about it because a guy started like giving an example, and like 1 year ago he needed to use this, or like 2 years ago I don't remember, and he like showed me the process, like how long it takes, and he even needed to go like to a like IRL like court a couple of times, and maybe he arrived and literally like they arrive and the judge says, oh, let's just pass it 1 more week or something like that, and he literally told me I would have paid myself like to be able to like speed this with Kleros. So, and I not even bring it to the table, so that it was crazy and pretty funny. And this was like 1 hour ago.
I think we already got the meme going of Kleros decentralized court, so everyone knows about that. I mean, in every like legal innovation conference anywhere in the world, there is always someone that mentions Kleros in different contexts. Some in doing like intellectual property, others real estate, others doing like whatever type of legal innovation conference about many different topics within the world of law. There is someone, and I know that because I get private messages. Hey, Federico, I was in this conference, I know, in Kuala Lumpur or like in Lagos, Nigeria, or whoever, and they were speaking about Kleros in this context. And this is super cool. Like people know us, and just this week we were invited by 3 really important like publishers to write chapters about Kleros in different contexts. I'm not sure I should mention this publicly, so I'm not going to mention it publicly until they authorize me. But one of these chapters is about Kleros AI and how they interact, but AI agents as jurors. Basically, if you are interested in that, you can watch my talk at HCC in the last HCC. Then other 2 is one like large chapter for like a book on decentralized finance and how Kleros can help secure DeFi. And then 2 other entries, one about Kleros and one about decentralized justice, which we invented, by the way, in like entries like for kind of a shorter entry for like a online, not online, it's a book, like a dictionary or encyclopedia of DeFi terms. So it's super cool. And because these are like inbound requests, it's not that we are looking for them, but this is amazing that they come. Okay.
I have one more example before Juan explains the integration with StakeCurate. I was talking with a friend from China, and he was mentioning that he was on a conference between public public government entities and crypto blockchain projects, and they had a slide about Kleros, and it mentions, it's only in Chinese. Let me, I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah, it says Kleros there. You can totally see it.
Kleros, and you can see the UNCTAD, I don't know how to pronounce that, UNCTAD report about the that. So it's included in the slide. So I think it's crazy. Like we don't even know the reach that we have. We keep receiving that.
All organic, you know. People are going to say, "Oh, Federico bribed them to put." No. I mean, this is all organic. We don't even have no idea. I mean, this is just, when they say Kleros doesn't do marketing, remember all this, So this is the most marketing intensive project in all of the blockchain, probably. Not the traditional crypto marketing, maybe, but there are different ways of doing marketing, and some of them work better for different types of audiences. Okay, without more introduction, so without a little more introduction, so we're going to present today a project called StakeCurate, which is it comes as part of a wider application of Kleros, which is curation. People typically know Kleros from the point of view of arbitration of the dispute resolution, but one big application, and actually the one that has more use currently, is more about Kleros for certifying things. You can use Kleros to certify that some address in some crypto network belongs to whoever says it belongs, and it's not an impersonation of the project, or that you could use Kleros to certify that some particular token is not a Ponzi. So there are different ways in which you can use the community to verify if some submission complies or not with some particular rules, and this is valid for DeFi tokens. It can be used for wine. For example, OpenVino, one of the projects in our portfolio, uses this application of Kleros for certifying that some piece of wine or some bottle of wine actually complies with the requirements to be labeled as organic. We are experimenting with taking the same logic into dairy products. You can use Kleros as a certification agency to verify that some some brand of milk is actually not grown, but milked in an organic way. This is currently being used. This is used by MetaMask. It's used by Ledger. It's used by Etherscan to verify that addresses in their websites are previously verified by Kleros, so they are not scam. And there was one problem historically with curation, that you submit a token to be listed, and then people can verify it. And when you make the submission, you make a deposit, and then the deposit stays there visible for everyone. And people can, if they don't have a problem with your submission because they think it complies, maybe nobody says anything, and then it's accepted, and now it's part of the list. If they think there is some infringement of the policy, they can challenge you, and Kleros a jury will decide who is right. If the submitter is right, they take the deposit of the challenger. If the challenger is right, they take the submitter deposit. Okay, so this is great, it works, but it has one problem. So after you make your submission, if it's accepted, then your item goes to the list. Your token is now organic, certified by Kleros, but you get back your deposit. So what happens if now you start doing crazy shit with your project, and then your token starts to increase its risk because you are doing very risky legal stuff, or you became malicious and you are going to do a rug pull or whatever. So, but your token has already been certified. So since you already got your deposit back, there is no incentive for the community to actually challenge it and ask for it to be removed. because I mean they have nothing to win besides. Okay, some people will do it because they just want to be good Samaritans and make a good list, but otherwise there is not an economic incentive. So enter StakeCurate, which is a new iteration of Curate, where you make the submission, it's accepted, and then you have your certified item, but there is still a deposit there that can be used as an incentive for people to challenge it and have you removed from the list if they think you don't comply anymore with the requirements to be there. Okay. So this is new. This is StakeCurate. It took us a long time to develop. It's quite hard to develop. So now we're happy that we are deploying this. And for this, we also bring Juan, who will be one of the first users of this new technology of Kleros curation. So Juan, welcome again. Well, first tell us about you. I mean, so people get to know you. I mean, what you did at Kleros. Tell us a bit about DAM also, and then we can dig into curation. Okay.
Great. Yes. Thanks, Fede, for the context and the intro. And yeah, like many of Kleros old community members know me, and I know them, most of them. But like as a recap, I have been I entered Kleros 3.5 years ago. I was participating in the community some even before. I'm an accountant in paper, but since 10 years, when I was in high school, I was already into crypto. I was basically just an accountant, studying, and I was into finance and DeFi most of my free time. And since I entered Kleros, what I mainly did was managing Kleros hedge fund. So, and basically we have a fund of Kleros, where is the treasury of Kleros. And with Clément, I learned a lot from him. Since starting, we designed an approach that basically suits Kleros needs. In our case, for example, since 2022, we basically aim to maximize our exposure to ETH and obtain market neutral returns on Ethereum, on Ether. That means in ELI 5, explained very simple, don't lose nominal of ETH and get yield in the meanwhile. So how do we get yield with minimum risk and compare that risk with the yield? So we were doing strategies to fulfill that, and I was leading all the research and implementation, and together with Clément, we defined that. And obviously, for doing that, we made what we consider internal as a risk-adjusted framework, in which we estimate our risk for our strategy, and we compare with the actual yield, the actual benefit we were receiving, and we estimate if it was worth it or not putting money into it. And now this year I co-founded DAM Capital, that basically is an asset management company with two verticals. One is tokenized hedge funds, and another one is providing crypto services like advanced DeFi protocol on liquidity services to companies in crypto or banks that want to come into DeFi. So we serve them. And we have launched I haven't shared this publicly yet, but we haven't launched our first hedge fund and this year, 15 days ago. So it's not public, but I will probably make it public this week. And we have reached all the caps. And our first fund is what in Kleros, we apply the same research I applied to DAM, I still applied for Kleros money management. And the long term, DAM will manage Kleros treasury. As I'm doing today internally. So what we have today, we have a tokenized hedge fund that basically is a US dollar hedge fund in which we solely allocate to UniB3, the most battle tested platform, and we only use USDC DAI. That means that from risk adjusted returns, so the return versus the risk is very good, because the fund is more or less yielding 10 to 12% APR. So it's in average 2 to 3x AVE, and 2 or 3x 3x US tokenized bonds using Uniswap and most battle tested stablecoins. So how everything about this fits into them, and we want to show our clients that today is for whitelisted LPs. Obviously, anyone with the Kleros community and Kleros itself can use this. You can just need to get in touch. We just don't open it to the broad crypto landscape. Why? Well, because we're not trying to be the typical startup in crypto in which we launch a token, we like give points, we have governance. We are just like a hedge fund, like service company. So we are a profitable generating revenue company, and we don't need to have a token, etc. So we just care to give the final best product to our users. That is, in this case, like what's the best risk yield per unit of risk you can get. This fund, as I mentioned, we consider it like pretty blue chip, so like best assets, best protocols, very small risk. And the thing is that when you have these vaults, and you cannot show like to the public what is a blue chip or like what is like risky or not risky. Risk is subjective. I have a pinned post on my profile speaking about this, and so I was looking to a way to say, hey, users, investors, like other asset managers, hey, if you are really doing a good job, like you should be able to have a badge that attest that you are like doing like a pretty like good return based on your risk. And here's when StakeCurate enters. Just a disclaimer: Green, one of the developers of like StakeCurate, asked me not to call it StakeCurate but PermaCurate, and so just that's as a small comment. But it's like today is the same. How we leverage this, basically, as Fede mentioned, like there are registries that you can like fulfill with certain policies or like attributes. And if you fulfill those policies, you can get like a badge. So for example, Proof of Humanity was a list of humans accepted, and when you pass like a certain period of time, you were accepted as a human, and you get like the Proof of Humanity ID. Okay, there was the TCR, the Etherscan, etc., that use this same registry. And we use it like for DeFi. I think it's the first use case of Curate, in this case PermaCurate, for DeFi itself, in which what we want to do is we want to show our investors that our DeFi balls, our hedge funds, target certain risk profile and certain return. In this case, it's a risk profile solely. And this in like how it works is we create a registry, in this case, in which we say, okay, we consider this being a blue chip, this being extremely secure, and if we consider this being a blue chip, it should fulfill certain rules. And that means that, for example, we will create a lead that is blue chip, and we will say only these protocols and these assets are accepted and considered blue chip, so meaning very low risk, like high resistant. And all asset managers, like my company, like Dam Capital, but in the other like in other hedge funds managers, in other asset managers, they can also use this same badge or create their own badge, like according to their preference or their view on what is risky and what not. Okay, in which I say, okay, this is the blue chip badge. It contains these protocols and these assets. And in our case, what we will do is, once this registry is created, that we are testing it and will be ready very soon, basically we'll submit our fund, that I will send the link of the fund that is today on Lagoon Finance and the infrastructure for tokenizing hedge funds. Basically, we will submit the address of our fund to this registry, and we will put permanently a deposit in which, if anyone sees that we are violating like the rules of the registry, they can challenge us and keep our money, our deposit. In exchange, we get the reputation of Kleros Curate of saying, okay, this fund is blue chip according to the rules that were preset, and we will put this on our UI to show to our confidence, okay, you as a user have the confidence that the money is being used in these protocols, and you're only tied to the risk of these protocols, and the asset manager cannot say, like, I will use this to buy meme coins, for example. So imagine what will happen if in the normal version of Curate, I could submit like my hedge fund, and okay, today I'm using only Uniswap and USDC and USDT, and I will get accepted. But in 3 days, after I get accepted and I get the badge, I could start using meme coins on a like very new lending platform that is not audited. and no one, like, I will still have the badge and will accept it into the list, and no one will have the economic incentive to remove me. With permacurate or StakeCurate, you get the benefit that the manager always has skin in the game. So in exchange of getting this badge of curation, of showing to the investors and to the other companies, to the banks that comes from TradFi, hey, we are like fulfilling these rules, you need to leave a deposit, and anyone like can see what given how blockchain works, you can track the positions of the hedge fund manager. You can see if at some moment they don't fit the rules and challenge us. So StakeCurate, permacurate is like a way in which we will transmit confidence on our first hedge fund, and we will say, okay, this first hedge fund that is aimed to very low risk investors and is like whitelisted has this certified badge. Maybe we will create another hedge funds with another purpose, with another sort of badge, like to attest to different criteria. And this can apply to any hedge fund manager. But we are seeing here the first immersion of like the economic security of Curate with DeFi and how we could use this to leverage and give users an extra sort of confidence. There are many rating apps. There are many like service that you could use to complement with Curate and add this extra economic incentive plus Kleros scores reliability. And yeah, like as me being like part of the Kleros family and even like still manage Kleros hedge fund and have it like them with our funds, I think it's a very good use case to portray what we can be done, and then like see what other like asset managers or any other escape can do with permacurate. As Fede mentioned, like the possibilities are pretty much expanded. So yeah, we will share more in the next weeks. And yeah, pretty excited to see how it goes, and thanks to all the devs and Fortunato who craft Curate, this new version of Curate that enable us to leverage new use cases. And yeah, as Fede mentioned, we will need to see how it goes, and we will give updates on the next weeks on how you can try it and how you can see it live. So yeah, I think that's all. Not sure if it was clear, but also like happy to take questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear. I mean, I'm just going to maybe make a metaphor with the traditional world so everyone understands this, because not everyone who is going to listen to this are expert in Web3 treasury management. Well, we had the crisis in 2008, the financial crisis, cost. I mean, if you watch The Big Short, you will know that these were like banks buying, commodity, assets that were not of a good risk profile, but those assets were certified by the credit scoring companies, by the most important credit scoring companies, as low risk AAA, high quality assets, which turned out it was not the case. So all of those assets were mispriced, and this at some point, when the kind of went back to the fundamentals, well, you know what happened. If you don't know what happened, if you just watch Big Short and Margin Call, and those two movies give you the perfect, combination of knowledge of what happened. The thing is that these credit scoring agencies, they just do their evaluation of the assets classes in a way which is like in their office, following their own process. But what brings Curate here is that everyone can see why an asset was given the AAA rating or was accepted for them to invest in. And people can see what were the rules that were set forth as acceptable asset, when it was submitted for acceptance, if it was challenged or not, if it was challenged, what were the reasons that were given for this challenge, and if it was ultimately accepted, why it was ultimately accepted. So all of the process is going to be traceable, and people will know why the asset received the certification, and this should avoid situations of black boxes, as happened in the 2008 financial crisis. So decentralized due diligence, it's that open for everyone to see and for everyone to participate as well. Yeah. So tell us a bit, Juan, or maybe if we can add Fortunato to to this because they also work together. For people to understand, what are the rules? I mean, in the existing vaults, how is the decision made? What are the rules need to comply by the asset to be acceptable in order for them to invest in it?
Yeah. So in this first, the rules on this first fund will be like, at least you will see the policy once officially live. We are crafting the final details and some legal minor details, but basically you will see that there are like a list of protocols and assets that, like, in them subjectively we consider can be considered blue chip. So basically we inputted a list of Ethereum products, a list of BTC products, and a list of dollars stablecoins, and some protocols we want to use that like are the most battle tested over the times, and some like some variables we considered, and also some infrastructure. For example, we use solely Safe, like the most battle tested multi-sig provider like in the ecosystem since inception, and we use something that is called Zodiac, that basically also showed investors that, hey, like this Safe, that is the one like that runs the hedge fund, can only interact with, for example, Uniswap or like Morpho, etc. So we use those pieces of infrastructure, and in the policy you will see, okay, DAM in this case will only interact with Uniswap, Morpho, Aave, and Velora, and like two more protocols. Only will use USDT, USDC, DAI, like a tokenized T-bill, and only will use Stakey from Lido, Rocket Pool, Eri from Rocket Pool, and CBBTC from Coinbase, for example. It will be a more extended, but it will be this list of assets. And then when this policy is submitted, you will see that our fund only interacts with a subset of these accepted registers in the policy. And is everything probably on chain? And if at some moment we don't, okay, it's even better for the user because they can challenge us, remove us from the list, and win money. So yes, I'm not sure if Fortunatus want to add something, but that's the main goal of the first registry, that we invite other like DeFi experts or asset managers to either like change, like think with us how we can change it or create new ones.
Yeah. Fortunato, anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, perfectly. Yeah, it's a perfect summary of how it would work. So we would define would define the list of assets that are compliant, that the hedge fund manager can interact with, and if these hedge fund manager for any given reason changes his strategy and interacts with assets that are not compliant, you, like any community member, can flag these, get rewarded, and also help the rest of the community because you get that instant notification, that instant warning that this hedge fund, this fund in general, is not compliant anymore, and it may be more risky, and you can decide to withdraw your investment.
Juan, just two last questions. I mean, let's say I'm a founder of a protocol and we have some treasury, and we are not experts in treasury allocation. I mean, can we hire your service? How does it work?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, like on DAM, we have like two verticals. One is like tokenized hedge funds, and one is like crypto services, like DeFi as a service, like a DAS. So on the first one, we have these tokenized hedge funds that mostly are appealing for like most of treasuries, like either if you're seated on the dollars or on ETH, and probably that's a good fit. But also it relates of the size of the treasury, and if it can, like, if it's extremely big, maybe some specific fund cannot fit. And the other, like, if not, we simply have like this DeFi service in which you can hire us, like, and we will handle the treasury and like arrange a deal in which the amount of money we make you, we just pay a percentage, and we can even deploy a non-custodial vault or do the same in your Safe using Zodiac. So we never have the custody. You always have the transparency and all the like benefits of how to manage money. and we just like are in charge of doing what we know the best. That is how we allocate money and make good returns with measured risk.
Okay, so let's say I'm like, okay, I'm an individual now. I have like, I don't know, I have 20K. I want to invest in crypto. I don't have the time to do it. So I can make one of these Zodiac vaults, and then you can manage it for me. How does how it works?
Yeah, that's a possibility. Probably for the small investor, like 20K, the best even for him is this. Like is the vault, the fund we have launched. You can simply reach us like on me on Twitter, on DAM on Twitter or via email, or we have our own website where you will get the information. And basically, like we need to whitelist you. At least our first funds are like private because we have reached the cap all the time, because we consider that yield is very good for the risk, and we work with long-term players. So you reach us, you get to know us, we get to know you, we accept you with your wallet into the fund, and you can deposit and forget. It's a deposit and forget fund in which you can withdraw like immediately all the time. Like it's a T+1 fund. And in the future, like in 2 months, we'll have our own site, and you will be able to log in with Gmail instead of needing a wallet. So that's also like pretty cool. And yeah, like I would say that's the best thing for like high net worth individuals.
Thank you, Juan, very much. Thank you for introducing us to DAM Capital, and good luck with the company. And we will be obviously following and supporting. And if you guys want to have Kleros certified strategy, so you can speak to Juan at DAM Capital, and don't speak to him about football because he's in a bad moment about that. But yeah, this about finance a lot. Yeah, I strongly recommend. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you guys, and yeah, like talk soon.
Okay, since we are here, Fortunato, well, let's go to the Curate updates. Okay.
Yeah, sure. As I first it was super interesting to see what Juan is building with DAM, and look forward to see the future development, and also happy to be part of this project with StakeCurate, which, as Federico mentioned, is a tool that it was needed in the Kleros ecosystem as a complement of what we have now as the classic curate. Because with StakeCurate we do give to the community this constant incentive to check the entries, to constantly verify the items, while the classical curate is more, I would say, a complementary use for cases where you can verify on chain that this item was compliant at time X. So you know for sure that in that specific time this item was compliant, and it has its own niche, its own number of use cases. And even still within Web3, like our main project is with Scout, where we basically solve the problem of blind signing. So we give a name, to a certified name, to smart contracts, to tokens, to protocols. So when you interact with your wallet, you are sure that this smart contract is doing it has these features and this specific function. And with Web3 it's particularly useful because there are few cases where you can change the core logic of a smart contract. So with StakeCurate, in this week we had plenty of new releases related to updating the meta evidences. So how technically the smart contract tags this item in order to clarify the parameters to users. We improved our policies to be more clear both for submitters and for jurors. And also we renewed for another month the Scout incentive program, and I highly recommend to participate, because last month we had a very active month with more than 600 new entries. We achieved all-time high of weekly entries. On the second week of August, we had 220 entries. So you can participate in verifying items, whether you are submitting a new item that needs to be verified, or you can also participate by flagging those non-compliant items or incorrect entries. Other than this, we have several partnerships with several projects with whom we are currently working, and we have the cases with real world assets that we mentioned already in the past weeks, and also Federico mentioned, like the with wine, with Open Vino, and biocertification of dairy products. Also, we have the use of StakeCurate with Juan, and also another project with StakeCurate that we are working with, but it's still in the finance world, but we will release more in the upcoming week. And also we are working on another Curate project related to traditional finance. Now, I cannot disclose much about this project, but we are already working to be able to have an MVP by November to bring to DevConnect, so we can present a use case of Kleros with traditional finance. But also about this, we will follow our social media pages, and you will probably learn more in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, these are the main updates from the previous week.
I'm really excited about that one because it is in the topics that I like more. You know, the use of Kleros for enabling like access to finance for people who don't have access to finance, but for small individuals who need a little credit for, I don't know, buying a little scooter that they can use to work, a bike, that type of small access to credit that will definitely be a way to change people's lives. And but for different reasons, basically low trust in the institutions, the financial system does not work well, so they don't have access. Blockchains are a really good solution for that. And being from Argentina, I can tell you that billions of people around the world don't really have access to financial inclusion because of these sort of problems, and blockchains are a good solution for that. So thank you, Fortunato. We will tell you more about this as we can. For now, this is all we can say. So yeah, thank you. Jean, now we are going to William, right? Or do you have anything for? Yeah.
Actually, yes, William. I almost, yeah.
Hello, William. Yes. Looking good. How are you?
Hey, I'm well, thanks.
Good. Well, go ahead.
Sure. So to sort of update, give an update on the research we've been doing. It's a lot of the same stuff that I've talked about on previous community calls. So, like not a lot of new big surprises, at least not at the moment. But we're continuing to think a lot about how AI interacts with decentralized justice, as we have, rapidly improving AI tools. What does that look like? Are we going to have AI participating as jurors? Like, inevitably, the human jurors will use AI. So we've been doing a bunch of tests and reflections and trying to imagine how we build the right mechanisms that will incorporate the AIs as actors in useful and healthy ways. So I've been thinking a lot about that. And generally, as V2 gets closer to being audited and sort of fully launched, we spend a lot of time thinking about how we can take advantage of the modularity that V2 allows, to have different kinds of voting and incentive systems, better sort of mechanisms for non-binary outcomes, number values, and how to best take advantage of that for the kinds of use cases we have, like what exact mechanisms best satisfy, like have the best trade-offs for the kinds of things we, expect to see in the near future.
Tell us, William, because there is an audience that doesn't know much about V2. Just a little summary. What do you mean by this modularity you mentioned?
Yeah, so the way V2 is structured is there's a core contract that has a very basic skeletal logic. It has things about sort of the court tree, so what court you as a juror stake in, and like how the appeal process works, and it like calls other contracts that we call dispute kits that have more detailed logic. So like basically the core contract manages the sort of court tree and the dispute kits that are being used, and then the actual details of the given mechanism are in the dispute kits, which might have things like how are the votes aggregated? What does a vote look like? Do I provide just like a single option? Do I provide a ranked list of options? Do I provide a number? Like other kinds of information I can provide. How do I put that together? How do I get paid or penalized based on how I vote? Whether like what does the like number of jurors look like in an appeal? If I appeal, like how many jurors are in the next round? Like all kinds of details that you might want to vary from one type of application to another are in the dispute kit. And the new dispute kits can be approved by governance in the future, which gives this version of Kleros the flexibility to incorporate new research that like not only the backlog of research that we've done over the past few years that like will eventually be built into new dispute kits, but like future research that we haven't even done yet can be encoded into dispute kits that should be compatible with the big skeletal core contract, and then be launched in the future.
Yeah. Thank you, William. Anything else you want to say for this call? Or?
No, that's all. If people have questions, I can dig into more details, but I feel that's a good overview.
Awesome, thank you. So, I mean, also this is great because, we will launch a V2 after the audit of the contracts are done. Well, you can never say exact date because it depends on what you find in the audits. But after that, so we can add more dispute kits with different logics that we want to, if we want to improve the voting mechanism, we want to use some different, aggregation of votes or whatever. This can be done without having to do all of the basic work again, because the V2 is, we could call it a plug and play, court. You unplug a module, you plug the other one, and now you have a different logic. So yeah, excited, and we just reached 100 cases in the beta, and really looking forward to this. Okay, thank you, William. Let's go to Gene now. We have a few demos to show you, but I will let him to do it. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, the first demo, I think it's about, it's from an app that we all are very much interested in. Oh, let me configure it properly. 1 second. Okay, I think this is better. So basically, this is the V2 version of our escrow. And the first version of the escrow was launched a couple of years ago, and the design was not updated for some time. And now we have a version that I think looks pretty good. I'll play the video and then explain a little bit how it works. So basically, you join the court, you put the text, like the text of the terms that you want. You can also upload a PDF with a contract that you have with the other party. In this case, we are the sample is hiring someone to create memes, but it can be anything. It can be like a website. It can be like even a real life thing that maybe you're paying someone to fix something for you, or doing something online. So it is very, very flexible. Of course, there's a condition that the jurors must be able to review the evidence in case there's disputes. So you need to have that in mind. So basically, you click next, select the policy, and then you go to the part where you select the the address of the payout, in this case, the person that will be creating the memes, and select a deadline. This is important to because the deadline defines the time where you can, after which you can create a dispute if the parties do not agree with the results. So you can see that the interface is a lot better than the previous one. It looks good, and it's very similar to the V2 interface. And that's it. I think you just deposit the payment, and when you deposit, you create the on-chain contract between you and the party, and you have the option to release the payment when the service is done, when you're happy with the results, or the person can create a dispute after the deadline if you are refusing to pay for some reason. There's also an option to propose like a smaller payment. But yeah, this is already live on Arbitrum. It's in beta right now, so we recommend using only small values. I think there's also a block if you want to use for more than $1,000 or so. So I really recommend anyone that like to try new on-chain tools and they have a use case for that. If you can maybe try with your friends, I think it's a good idea, and also you can also show them how Kleros works. And in this case, also if a dispute is created, it goes to Kleros V2 on Arbitrum as well. I think this is pretty cool.
So let's say, Gene, I am a guy called, I don't know, a woman called Alice from Berlin, and they want to hire a guy called Bob, who is in, I don't know, Guatemala maybe, for doing a video for my company, like a 2-minute video. I can use this app, and I put the money there into like an escrow, and then we agree with Bob the terms and conditions, and then if there is a dispute, I mean, Kleros will solve this for me.
Exactly. You can already do that. I think for most cases, this value that we mentioned, it's okay. They fall under that value, so there's no reason not to try it.
Awesome. Cool. We have this new app, and what else do we have? We have another thing for today, right?
Yes, we have a surprise guest. He's let me add him to the stage, because we have another demo that I think it's very interesting too. Let me see if you can already see it. Yes, let me play the demo, and you can explain it, JB, if you want to tell the story.
Hey guys. All right, so this is the original idea is to help some legal professionals to make a decision on the similarity between two images. And so what we are seeing on the video is a sample report of what it would look like if you were comparing two images. So I don't know if you can maybe go back a little bit. So the comparison is actually using an assessment by different LLMs. So we are putting, in this case, 3 different LLMs in competition. We asked them to come up with a score. 100 means that the images are the same, 0, they're completely different. And if the LLMs are in consensus enough within a certain range, we'll say that, well, the result is very clear. And, you know, there you go, you have your score. But if the LLMs actually don't agree and there's no consensus within the range that you defined, then you could actually say, okay, the LLMs disagree. Let's ask jurors. Let's just ask Kleros what they say, what the jurors think about the similarity between those images. So we could actually sort of break a disagreement between LLMs. So yeah, there's a bit of background behind this idea. Our friend Robert Dean actually came up with this idea and prototyped it, and we baked it into a fancier application. And this is really just a proof of concept. We could really keep iterating on this, making it going in different directions with this. It's interesting to see how different LLMs really actually diverge, or sometimes give you the exact same score. Yeah, so initially it's a tool that is meant for legal professionals. If they are asked a question, I think probably mediators, I guess, if they need to make a decision about the similarity of images. So really intellectual property sort of cases.
I mean, let me add a bit more context. So this is a super cool application because this is in the intersections between intellectual property, which is like a huge area of law, and growing as more and more things become digital, and then also intersects with AI and decentralized justice. So we have been exploring, as you know, the application of AI and Kleros combinations since 2019, when we did the Dodgers on Trial experiment, and we were back then using like image recognition tools to verify if some image was or not a dog. I'm not going to explain all of the story of Kleros and AI now because it will take a lot of time, and you can watch my talk at HCC, the last one. But this is a great example of how the future of dispute systems design is going to be a combination between automation through AI and humans through Kleros, in the sense that you might have a first decision or evaluation done by AI. In this case, different models. You have Gemini, you have Claude, and you can have ChatGPT or others. What happens is that sometimes they don't agree. I mean, if they all agree that this is an infringement, it's easy, but many times they don't agree. And then you probably need another decision done by a higher complexity layer that could be done by humans, okay? So, and this is a good example of how this could work. You start by using an app, and the app pulls the decisions done by AI models, and then if it doesn't reach the final decision, then you can escalate to Kleros, and Kleros could do the decision by different methods. It could do it with anonymous jurors, it could do it with soulbound tokens, gated courts where only IP lawyers are accepted. So it depends on what the use case is. But this is a concrete, specific example of how this will look like in the real world. So yeah, I mean, congratulations to Rob Dean, who is one of the members of the Kleros board, who is a dispute resolution specialist, and he's the first who started experimenting with these technologies. And by the way, who came up with this really, really cool name of Mirrorfall for the app. So yeah, this is a proof of concept. It's not something we are thinking for now as a product, but this could very well evolve into a product. So it's a really, really cool experiment in a field where a big part of the legal industry is moving. Anything else, JB, you want to mention about Mirrorfall?
That's all for me.
I have a comment too about this because if I understand correctly, JB, there was this original example from Rob. Then you kind of vibe code the rest of the app, right?
Yeah. So for someone who is actually not a technical person, I must really praise him because he put together a Python notebook, which was very neatly made. Like I think that's probably as far as you could go with Python, and that made it actually that really facilitated it to go to bake it into a proper front-end application. Personally, for me, that was the first time I put together from zero, from scratch, and up, like vibe coding it with Lovable. I could probably make that could be a story for another day. So
this is a story. How this was built is a story in itself. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, like playing with those AI tools, you get surprising results sometimes. I was using 2 tools at the same time. Actually, I had Lovable on one side and Cursor at the same time, modifying the same code based on orthogonal features. And yeah, overall, Cursor gave better results for me. But Lovable is good to get started initially.
I think this is pretty nice because we have so many ideas on how to use Kleros, and now we can basically, if there's a dev willing to do it, we can test it in maybe a couple of weeks or maybe a week or so, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The thing that was actually sort of mind-blowing for me was to explain to in a prompt to the LLM. So in this case, the Lovable prompt or the Cursor prompt, to explain it what I wanted. I want to build an app which is going to prompt another LLM. So I'm telling the LLM that it needs to build an app which will prompt another LLM. So I thought that was very interesting.
This is the bot internet theory, it's only bots calling other bots, and yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we are already more than 1 hour. This is the longest community call ever, and the longest one without any, Twitter, breakdown or that, disconnection or stuff like that. I mean, this StreamYard was definitely a good idea, Jim, by the way. And I mean, you haven't even given. Do you have any more updates, Gene, before the StreamYard kicks us out of the room? No.
No, I think that these are the main updates. There's always small stuff, but then people need to be on Telegram to know about the other details.
Exactly. So we have an incentive for people to engage on Telegram every day, and yeah. Okay, I guess that's it for today. Next one will be next Wednesday, 6 p.m. UTC. Thank you for coming to Kleros Community Call of Kleros Republic. Thank you, and see you on Telegram or next week. Bye-bye.
See you.